Welcome to Bro Joe Builds. And on this episode, we talk a little bit more about this Nova and this power plant right here. And let you know what are future plans for the channel. I know it's been a little while and the last video was a little grainy. We'll talk about that and we'll talk about that and more in this episode on Bro Joe Builds. So, this is the spare parts Nova. Project Spare Parts. And literally, it is exactly that. A car built with mostly spare parts. This motor is the motor that was actually going to go into the Chevette. The transmission is the transmission that came out of the Chevette. And a lot of the parts, other than suspension parts, which I went and got some good stuff for the car, most of it is just leftover junk. Even the engine, honestly, was a bunch of leftover parts that got put together. None of it is brand new. And we'll talk a little bit more about the motor in a second. But I just walked through the whole car. It's a 73 Nova. 73 Nova. By the way, I have a new shop. Throw that out there. A little garage space that I've been able to rent and get some work done. Because, again, before the last year I had no shot space, so it was hard to make content. Now with a little space, now I'm able to get things done. But enough of that. 73 Nova has a 70 nose on it. I was able to get rid of if you look at previous videos, I had metal blue fenders. They were rotted in the bottom, so I was able to swap out for a pair of fiberglass ones in a straight trade. And although these don't fit quite perfect, this is more gonna be a race car than a good-looking street car, so I'm okay with it. The front wheels and tires came off of the red Nova that got crashed. That's sad because that car had a lot of potential, but the engine still lives on, and we may be able to see that engine go as fast as I think it should have went, or even faster in a new car. But more on that on a different video. The business side of things, interior, it's pretty much 2 race seats, a factory dash, and some switches. So it's mostly race car. This is all business. It has an 8-point roll bar, which soon will need to be updated to at least an 850 cert with a 10-point. In the back, we have in the trunk a Circle Track fuel cell and a battery located in the back. And as for a rear, we have GM 8.5, and that's welded aftermarket axles. For the rear, we have a QA1 double adjustables, and Calvert bars, of course, and Calvert leaf springs. Love their stuff. In the front, I kind of glossed over tubular control arms, and it has a coilover conversion kit with double adjustables in the front as well. So in the last video, I had some issues with the car and at the track. Even though the car ran pretty good, we went as quick as 10.8 on an aborted pass, meaning I was already out of it a little bit after the 8th mile. And on top of that, before that, the car was surging and was struggling to make power. I figured the problem out, and let's show you what we got going here. So the kid that I got the car from, he was a Circle Track guy, and the spare parts build, used parts from his old race car, his Circle Track car, to try to put this car together. And he used a Circle Track fuel cell. The problem with using a Circle Track fuel cell is that it's not gravity fed. And because it's not gravity fed, you have to the pump has to pull the fuel. And the style fuel, so the style, back like I was saying, with a circle track fuel tank, they're normally designed to use with mechanical fuel pumps, which pull fuel. The type of electric fuel pump he has here, or one I have here now, is an electric fuel pump that is designed to be gravity fed. So it's pulling fuel, and then it has a pretty restrictive filter on it on top of that. So it's pulling fuel through a restrictive filter and is having trouble supplying enough fuel to supply the motor. So I'm gonna have to put a gravity style, normal drag style fuel cell, and we're gonna reroute the pump setup altogether. It has a return line, and I think I'm gonna pretty much keep the same setup he had going on, just straighten out the pump situation. I think it should be enough fuel to supply this combination the way it is currently. So that was my main issue with the car surging, was the car actually running lean, and that's never a good thing. But I think after I solve that issue, we should be able to pull cleanly throughout the whole pass. And this thing, like I said, we went 1080s the first time out with the car. The second issue is with the brakes, and that I honestly still haven't figured out why I don't have proper braking. So I'm gonna go ahead and take apart the rear drums, and I have a set of Wellwood disc brakes that I might end up switching to, and that would probably be where I'm gonna go, with Wellwood disc brakes in the back, and maybe even go with some disc brakes in the front while I'm there. Since I already have the rear disc brakes, maybe hop over and get a set of the fronts. So that's the overview of the Spare Parts Nova. So far, I think this year my goal is just to race, and then film good quality content of just racing and tuning and dialing a combination. And the last video, my sons recorded it, and they did their best. I think their camera settings were set on toaster oven, because they came out, they didn't come out the very best. But going forward, we'll have at least a camera inside the car, and depending on who goes with me, we could have, a more clear videos, hopefully, in the future. So with that being said, this is Bro Joe Builds. Like, share, and subscribe. And on the next video, we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about this engine and how fast we are trying to go with a motor built with just spare parts.